Sabonis writhing in pain. So he grabs Draymond's leg right there. Now Draymond steps on him.
My leg got grabbed. I got to land my foot somewhere.
That brought us together. We huddled up and we're like, yo, we have to win this game.
Here's Fox.
Oh, yeah! And suddenly they can't miss.
They have waited so long for moments like this.
We're not accustomed to hitting the panic button. We know what it's like to deal with that pressure and outside noise. It's nothing new. We can go home and protect home court and give ourselves another opportunity to win here.
Good day. Welcome into First Take Pack Show today. Of course, we've got Monica, JJ, Stephen A. We also have two special guests in studio. Stephen A., you mentioned it off the top. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman and former Alabama linebacker, future top NFL draft pick Will Anderson. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hi, everybody. Welcome back, SA. How was the flight?
Football, we're going to do that hockey today. We're going to do that hockey. We're going to do that hockey.
I love that skit.
Yeah, we're going to do that hockey. He don't know anything about that. He's too busy working all the time.
You do.
He don't know that.
I go to Rangers games.
Do you know what we talk about when we say we're going to do that hockey?
No, I don't.
They'll tell you a commercial break.
It's going to be a fun show. It's a great time in sports. We're covering a lot of ground. But we start in the NBA where the Kings are winners. Draymond Green was ejected after stomping on the Kings' Domantas Sabonis. Green was tossed in the fourth quarter of the 114-106 Game 2 loss after taking a hard step on Sabonis' chest. Sabonis stayed down for a few minutes as officials reviewed that play, was called for a technical foul for grabbing Green's leg, and Green was given a flagrant 2 foul that led to the automatic ejection. The dynasty that is Golden State is down 2-0 to Sacramento. Here's Draymond with more.
Draymond, can you just walk us through what happened there?
My leg got grabbed. Second time in 2 nights. Referees just watch it. I got to land my foot somewhere. And I'm not the most flexible person, so it's not stretching that far.
So you didn't really see where you were stepping. You just kind of...
I can only step so far. And pulling my leg away. Explanation was I stumped too hard.
2 times you've been held with Sabonis, both times?
No, it was Monk last game. Right on the baseline under the rim. Either you're going to stop it. John Goble was looking at Monk hold my leg the last game, and he just let it go. And Zach clearly was watching my leg get held this game and let it go. So I guess ankle grabbing is okay.
All right, let's unpack this. Stephen A., I'll start with you. Do you think Draymond should be suspended?
It's a hard one for me to call. On one angle, I'm looking at him and I'm saying, damn it calls for a suspension because it looked excessive. From another angle, I saw Sabonis grab his ankle. And then you're saying, wait a minute, he has a point there. I got to admit, I'm torn in that regard. I will tell you what I do believe is going to happen. And I'm praying that it won't, because obviously you need Draymond to win this series, in case you haven't been watching what Sacramento has been doing in them these first 2 games. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the NBA suspended him, because look at what the NBA does in this day and age. You do see people get suspended for less. And in this particular instance, because of how it looked, depending on which angle you're looking at it from, I think his explanation helps his case. But I don't know how much it'll help against the NBA, considering how the NBA has really been dogged about making sure any kind of transgressions aren't taking place. Not to mention the fact I don't think it helped that the Sacramento Kings pointed out how the lungs for Sabonis were being examined, MRI, X-rays, etc. They're being examined. Let's see how in other words, they're trying to say he was harmed by that. And as a result, what are y'all going to do about it? And I'm not saying they're faking it by any stretch of the imagination, but it certainly didn't hurt their case to highlight what he's had to endure because of the stomp on his chest if you want Draymond Green out of this playoff series in any way.
I do not think he should be suspended. Okay. I think the way that it was officiated in real time, a technical and a flagrant 2, indicates 2 players were in the wrong. One, obviously more egregious than the other, but I think because of the play, now if they was rumbling, tumbling, just ended up on the floor and decided to use Sabonis as a step stool to get off the ground, that's a different conversation. But I think the nature of the play, the call in game, I'm cool. Dumb plays on both parties. Let's move on.
I don't think he should be suspended, and I also think it's important to understand the context of what has happened over the past 2 games. And if you go back to the possession prior to Andrew Wiggins' potential game-winning 3, Sabonis pulls down Draymond, all right? They go basically 4-on-4 the rest of the way. Then there's the play early in the fourth where Draymond gets called for a foul. They eventually overturned it. Then Sabonis knocks Draymond over on the offensive end. He draws a charge. The physicality through 2 games in this series has been extremely high. The way they're grabbing Steph off the ball and they're allowing it. Like normally, if you bear hug a guy off the ball, they're going to call it. They're allowing it twice, 3 times. Alex Len last night had multiple possessions where he set 3 egregious legal screens. They didn't call it till the 3rd time. So they are letting a lot of plays go. And Monica touched on something. I think this is important. Sabonis initiated this incident. And that's why I think he's not going to be suspended and he shouldn't be suspended. There are 2 punishments already in place. The technical foul. Here we have, there's an example of Curry off the ball. Here's De'Aaron Fox on Curry here. They're grabbing and holding. Like, the punishment is already in place. Sabonis gets a technical, Draymond gets ejected. The other thing I want to say is we can't sit here and bemoan the lack of physicality in today's game and then want a suspension for Draymond on this.
Right.
In 1984, Kevin McHale, on Danny Ainge's prompting, clotheslines Kurt Rambis, and it's a common foul. We can't have it both ways.
Okay, well.
We can't have it both ways. And I think my last point is, I think you touched on something which is important, which leads me to believe, there's still a possibility he gets suspended, and that's his history, right? The kicking in the 2016 finals, the play on LeBron in Game 4 in the 2016 finals. Like, he's got a history, and the league always factors that in.
Well, let me say this. First of all, I want you to be clear about when you say we can't be this way, because there's a lot of people that abhor the fact that the NBA is so touchy-feely these days. They actually like the physicality. They wish that some of that was allowed. They feel that the egregious part is on a part of the league office, which calls everything and is ready to eject everybody for everything instead of letting the players play. So the vast majority of folks out there don't want somebody suspended. They want you on the court. Now you might have to compare, like if you're Sacramento, you might want them suspended because that obviously serves your best interest. I'm talking about the fan base and stuff like that. But for the most part, if you're watching the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings, you want Draymond Green on the court. I don't want him suspended. I pray that he doesn't get suspended. But we can't ignore how the NBA has been in recent memory and how stringent they've been and how dogged they've been against an elevated level of physicality. Everything is under review these days. You're looking for flagrant ones, flagrant twos. You're looking at plays that take place. You're like, really? We got to review that play? Really? Why can't you just let them play? But somehow, some way, they don't do that. And so when you take all of those things into consideration and you see what transpired, I agree with both of y'all, because, again, that second footage that I saw, when I saw Sabonis grabbing his ankle, I'm like, yeah, he definitely instigated that. To hell with that. But the NBA may say 2 wrongs don't make a right. You was far more excessive than him. The Sacramento Kings are saying his lungs got to be examined for crying out loud. We don't know what kind of damage has been done to him.
Draymond said he's got to get an extra ankle
out. Yeah,
exactly. Which is smart to say. Two can play that game. I'm just saying, when those kind of things come about, you don't know how the NBA is going to react. But we all agree. We hope that, and we don't think he should be suspended. But I don't know if that's not going to happen.
Here's the thing, though, I guess, for me, the next layer of this conversation then becomes, at what point, Draymond, do you absolutely understand how important you are to your squad, right? You have now put this into the hands of the league office, and we are not sure which way they may sway, right, as much as we may agree. And so, to me, we had the numbers. That team scores 23 points after he fouls out is ejected, with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And so you have to know that in this series, you opened the conversation, Stephen A., talking about his importance, and the numbers bear it out. To me, there's got to be a level of growth from Draymond in understanding that you are far too important to this particular series. And quite frankly, the Kings had not fallen for the antics since too heavily in my mind. I mean, yes, there were some things going back and forth, but this to me is just a bonehead decision on his part.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to Game 1 of the Memphis series last year.
Okay.
And he has a hard foul on Brandon Clark, gets ejected from that game. Similar, we'll call them antics to the crowd.
Yes. Similar,
in that
without
game.
question.